Never in a million years did I ever think that I would have read over 20 books in 1 month, but here we are. So I tried to challenge myself this December to read as many books as I possibly could. I thought this would be a perfect first video to post. I will preface this by saying that I'm not in employment, I'm disabled, and so I have a lot more time to read, hence getting through as many books as I have. So it started as me trying to reach my 30 book goal for the year, and now I'm on 45. We did good, we did good. But I thought it'd be fun to just go through all of the books that I read in December. I will leave the ratings on the screen because they're on my phone. I'm also filming on my phone, so I don't know what they are. We are going to start off with the only reread that I did this month. It is Fourth Wing. I haven't read Onyx Storm yet, so I wanted to try and get back into the world of Fourth Wing. This is probably my favourite book I've ever read. I saw that the audiobook was available on BorrowBox. The opportunity arose and I took it. Next is How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. This book was so funny. It follows a girl who has kind of been estranged from her family and so decides that she's gonna kill them all and then get her inheritance. So it goes around each family member showing how she ended up killing them, but it's done in such like a comical way. I did really enjoy this book. I know a lot of people have said that they didn't enjoy it, but I am not one of those people. Next, I started a new series. I finally delved into the Shadowhunters world and started City of Bones. I cannot tell you how long this has been on my TBR, but I finally got to it and I loved it. I only wish that I had read this when I was younger, but it still feels nostalgic. So this follows a girl called Clary who starts seeing things that aren't there. But it turns out they actually are there and it's a whole other realm that she shouldn't be able to see, but she can. So she meets shadow hunters and gets taken to their headquarters, their base, and then finds herself having to work with them. It's so good. Next up, we have Legends and Latte. I got a phone call, so I don't actually know where I was. But we were talking about Legends and Latte. This was just like a slice of life, but like about an orc. It's just a cozy, an orc opens a coffee shop in a place that's never heard about coffee and is trying to start a business. And then there's like a little found family element. It's cute. I did enjoy this, but I'm not running to read the second book. I mean, not that I can run, but you know what I mean. Like, if I read it at some point, cool. If I don't, I'm not bothered. Next, we had Strange Pictures by Uketsu. I love this book. It was so cleverly done. So it's comprised of four short stories, each one revolving around a picture that holds like a mystery to it, and each story is trying to figure out the mystery of the pictures. And then as you're going through, you start to realize that all of these stories are intertwined in some way and they're all linked together, and it's so cleverly done. My jaw was on the floor by the end of this. Next we have Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Up until yesterday, this was my favorite book of the year that I read. It is a 6-star read for me. It is insane. It follows a man called Jason, and he wakes up strapped to a gurney with people with hazmat suits all around him, doesn't know where he is or what's going on. In the world that he's woken up in, his life isn't his own, his wife isn't his wife, his son isn't his son, and he has to try and figure out how to get back to his life. It's honestly such an amazing book. I'm so glad that I picked this up and read it because I was very much umming and ahhing in the bookstore whether to pick this up. I am so grateful to myself, to my past self, that I did. Next, we have Wildfire. So I haven't read Icebreaker, but I have read Daydream, and now I've read Wildfire as well. And I'm thinking that maybe this series just isn't for me, or maybe it's Hannah Grace's writing, I don't know. But I wasn't invested in this. It follows a girl and a boy who have a one night stand and then end up working in the same summer camp. I went into this thinking it would be quite heavily revolved around said summer camp, but I don't remember a single thing about the camp. All I remember is a couple of things about them. I thought the story was really forgettable. I don't remember a single thing about this book, to be honest. And the characters were kind of mid. I don't care for them. I'm not bothered what happens to them. I feel like I should be invested in the characters if I'm reading a whole book about them. Next, we have Truly Devious. I tried reading this a long time ago, but For some reason, I put it down. I think I just wasn't in the mood for it. But I'm glad I picked it back up now because it was so good. The mystery element, the timeline jumps, literally everything about it, I loved. I didn't realize that the mystery wasn't going to be concluded in this book, and obviously there are four books in the series. So now I'm not going to know what happens until I pick up the next book, which is going to add to my TBR, but I think it has to be done because I need to know what happens next. It follows a girl called Stevie who is accepted into a private school called Blackwood Academy. Not Blackwood, that's the book I'm reading now. Into Ellingham Academy, which was started in the early 20th century by a man who just thought that education should be free and so would invite the highest, the brightest students to the school for free. And then his wife and daughter go missing, and there's a massive murder mystery surrounding it. And Stevie Bell is in the present day, and she is interested in this mystery that happened in the early 20th century at the school. So, for her assignments, she is trying to crack the code and figure out what happened to Ellingham's family. Next, we have Project Hail Mary, and I wasn't expecting to love this one as much as I did, okay? This follows a man called Ryland Grace who wakes up in a spaceship with his crewmates dead. He is alone and he has no idea why he's there. So this is also a dual timeline book where it follows before the spaceship and while he's on the spaceship, and it's just a beautiful story about humanity and unexpected friendship. There's a lot of science in this book. It is very science heavy, but you don't need to understand science to be able to enjoy this book. I didn't understand half of the things that they were saying, but I still loved it so much. Next, we have When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I love this. Again, honestly, any book that has dragons, I'm probably going to love. This book, however, I thought would be more focused around the dragons, considering the title is about the dragons and all of this, but they're kind of more a backdrop of the world. They're a world building kind of piece of the story rather than a main plot point currently. I've got a feeling in the next book it's gonna change and the dragons are gonna be a lot more involved, and I'm so excited for that. It comes out in June. I cannot wait for the next book. Next, we have The Fabric of Our Souls. I went to a Christmas market last year, and one of the sellers there recommended me this book. I went out instantly, bought it. This book is dark. It is about a girl who tries to end her life and ends up going to an unconventional psychiatric facility where she's sharing a room with a man. It is a dark romance, you can see where it's going. It is a mental health setting, so it's getting graphic in ways that may be triggering, so I would check your trigger warnings before you read this. I really loved this book, but there were certain parts of it that I thought there was no need for some of the spice scenes. I feel like they were just there to fill the pages rather than necessary, but I still enjoyed this nonetheless. And at the end, my jaw was on the floor. I was tearing up. It was a wild ride. Next, we have Vampire Academy. Again, I started this book like 2 years ago, maybe. Softy NF'd it, put it down, didn't pick it back up. Love. I loved it. I wish I hadn't put it off. There are 6 books in this series. I only have number 1 and 2. This follows 2 girls who have escaped their vampire academy. They get found and taken back, and it's about them trying to survive in the academy. So much happens throughout the book. It is so good, but I don't want to give anything away because I can't say too much about the plot without giving away the ending. It is a YA. It reads young. I love a book that reads young, honestly. It takes me back to childhood, even though I didn't read it during my childhood, if that makes any sense at all. Next, we have Hunchback. This is an interesting book. I very much appreciate the whole reason behind this book is the author has, I don't want to get the disability wrong. She has congenital myopathy and uses a ventilator and an electric wheelchair, which is what our protagonist also has and uses. This book is kind of just a little slice of life in a couple of weeks of her life where she's trying to feel a bit more human, but it is graphic in a really wants to shock you kind of way. The point of the book is trying to show that disabled people can also have a sex life, I guess, or feel sexual, bisexual. That's the whole point of the book. It's done in a way that's supposed to have a shock factor though. I guess it does, but in a way that's not doesn't feel necessary when you're reading it, if that makes sense. But I don't want to give it a rating because it is kind of portraying how the author wants it to portray. I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, read it if you want. It's really short. Next, we have Funny Story by Emily Henry. I enjoyed this so much more than I enjoyed Beach Read. I think I gave Beach Read a 3 star. I think I gave this 4. I really enjoyed this. I think with Beach Read, I hated January and how whiny she was, and that kind of brought it down for me. But I loved both of the characters in this. So, Funny Story follows a girl whose fiance breaks up with her for his best friend. So she moves in with that girl's ex, and then they start fake dating to make their exes jealous because they got invited to their wedding. You know how fake dating goes. I'm not the biggest romance lover, but I actually really enjoyed this one. Next, we have Hawthorne Legacy. I read Inheritance Games at the end of November. I loved it. I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing so much. I can't say too much about the Hawthorne Legacy because it does follow on from Inheritance Games, so it would be spoiling the first book. But just know that it's just as fun as the first. I cannot wait to get to Final Gambit. Next, we have The Christmas Tree Farm. I was feeling a Christmassy book on Christmas Eve, so I picked this one up. This book follows Kira, who moves to Dream Harbor, where all of the other books are also set. It is small town romance book series. They are all interconnected standalones, so you can read them in any order. So I read Pumpkin Spice Cafe and I read this one, but I enjoyed this. It was fine, but I just wanted something Christmassy, and this fit the bill. Next, we have The Frame Up by Gwenda Bond. This book, going into it, isn't what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a romance book, but the romance was more of like a subplot. This book follows a girl called Danny, whose mother is a prolific con artist who steals priceless pieces of art from museums, from private galleries, all of this. Danny, when she is 17, turns her mother in to the police. Her mother gets sent to prison. Everyone cuts her off, and then 10 years later, someone turns up and tells Danny that she now has to complete a heist to help her mother. This story was full of plot twists that I wasn't actually expecting, and I genuinely enjoyed this book so much more than I thought I was going to. Next, I finally got around to My Roommate is a Vampire. I loved this book so much. If I could kick my feet, I would have been. It was funny. I think this is the first rom-com that I've ever read. I was actually laughing out loud at some parts, which never happens to me in books. This follows a girl called Cassie who finds a Craigslist ad for a roommate. She moves in, turns out he's a vampire. And so she is helping him to fit into society because he's just been asleep for 100 years. So she is helping him to acclimate to new society and try to catch him up on like what the internet is and things like this, and just generally how society has evolved. I swear we're nearly done. Next, we have Truly Darkly Deeply. I wish I DNF'd this. I did not enjoy this. The story is about a 12-year-old girl called Sophie whose stepdad or her mother's boyfriend is sent to prison for serial killings. The book is split between a few different timelines. One thing that bothered me about the book was that it never told you when it was jumping timeline. You kind of had to figure it out as you were reading, which did confuse me a lot. I don't know if that's just me. Maybe I'm just slow. I don't know. I thought the ending was a bit disappointing. It was kind of boring throughout. Nothing really happened. It was just 12-year-old Sophie following the serial killer case, and then also Sophie now looking back at her time, looking back at her life when she was living with him and trying to figure out whether he actually did it or not. This bored me. So the 20th book is A Language of Dragons. When I tell you that I read a 470-page hardback in less than 24 hours, unheard of. I am such a slow reader, but I absolutely devoured this book. So, A Language of Dragons follows a girl called Vivian, whose parents get arrested for being a part of the rebellion. Vivian tries to help them and ends up being recruited for the government to help them crack the language of dragons. I explained that so badly. I don't know how to explain it without giving things away, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. But this was another 6-star read for me. I'm very much obsessed with dragons and linguistics and language. You couldn't have picked a better book for me. This is up there with my top favourite reads I've ever read. And the sequel comes out in a week. It comes out January 6th. I'm so excited. I am running, metaphorically, to the bookstore to get this. Last but not least, I thought I'd show you what I'm currently reading in case I do finish it before December ends. I think I will, and probably I'll be picking another book because it's December 29th now. So I don't know what my final book of 2025 will be. I want to make it a good one, but also, do I have time? Probably not. I've taken the dust jacket off it, but it is Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. I am 165 pages in. There's about 440 pages, I believe, 430, something like that. So I'm hoping to finish this either today or tomorrow, and then we'll pick one more book for 2025. So Immortal Consequences is set in Blackwood Academy, which is a school between the living and the afterlife. And students are chosen there once they die from between the ages of about 16 to 18 years old. And they live there for about 200 years, reaping souls and learning how to use their magic. And once every 10 years, they have something called the decennial, which is a series of trials that one student gets chosen for. At the end of the trials, they can choose whether they want to graduate the academy or if they want to cross to the other side. Except this year it comes with a twist because 12 of them have been chosen for the trials and they've turned it into a competition. So this has 6 POVs of 6 different students, which is a lot, but I think it's kind of necessary because it's showing each of their backgrounds and stuff like that and the reasons why they want to win the trials. I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't think it's going to be 5 stars, but I'm thinking around the 4s, as long as it keeps up with the rate that it's at. So those are all of the books that I read in December. I know there's a lot, and I probably won't be reading this much in 1 month anytime soon again. If you're still here, thank you for sticking around until the end of my first video. I have wanted to do this for literally years, and I've never had the guts, so I thought going into 2026, why not? Who cares if I make an absolute fool of myself on the internet? It's been done a million times before, so why not just do it once more? And I genuinely enjoy just sitting down and talking to no one about books because then I can info dump and there's no one to tell me to stop. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye!